starts happening. Because the idea, sorry. I like it all fading in. But a lot of what I end up doing with these things is trying to find the frequencies that everything else is not present in. And after a while, you've got no more room. But I view the mix of this as every riff is like a different project in a sense. So I worked on this in the Triton. So we have an orchestra. I used an orchestra from some Eastern Bloc. It was a Ukraine. And we used the Electro Women's Choir in Vancouver. It was like 60-person strong. But each section there, trying to make it all get together, like the stabs. You know, and then I separate the orchestra on the orchestra tracks into different and then in the midsection you're then in this section here, for example, the orchestra changes its vibe. See, all right. Of course, over top of that, we've got all the rock band, which is mixed separately. So this here. Throughout, it's like a motif in a sense, and then we get to the so this is the Electro Women's Choir. And then I double that with my own, right? So what I actually decided while I was mixing the 5/1 is I got rid of those vocals in that second verse, and I think it sounds really cool. It's much better without, because it accentuates that sort of movement. So it's like without those vocals there, you get this. Wait. Things like this, like while that was coming together as a mix, I kept thinking like it needed to have this kind of like Spanish bolero thing, like tic-a-dun, tic-a-dun, tic-a-dun. So I just opened up an instance of whatever drum program was first in the instrument list, and I just added right? And this is what I like about layering. It's like as the ideas start to manifest, there's nothing, as long as the phase is not going to interrupt something that's existing, you can just start to like build on it, and so each section becomes, and then they get this in there. But in the 5/1, you can put that over there, right? Or so that's that section, and then when it goes to the next section, the heavy section. So because I can't do death metal vocals, I can scream, but I can't do death metal vocals. I often say I sound like Super Grover when I'm doing it. You know, I'm like, oh. So I got this this guy that I met. He was in a band called Beneath the Massacre, and he's just like, even when he talks, he sounds like this. And so I like the whole idea of Empath as a record is trying to make something that is, you know, it's sort of like an anti-suicide statement in a sense. It's about trying to be positive. But it's such a strange and loud environment that we live in now that I feel like you have to really be like, hey, you know, don't kill yourself or whatever. So I asked this guy to do it, and so I've got throughout the record words like love and peace and all this shit, but it's this guy. He's like, right? So throughout it, I've got this guy just being like, let's see, little things like, you know, like the world collides, or what are we doing tonight? Watching universes collide was the lyric, and I wanted to make it so that when it hit, it was like this sound of like, what would the universe hit, right? So I had like, what are we doing tonight? And the women say, watching universes collide. Right, so what are we doing tonight? Watching universes collide, and then I have a big sub, right? Then he goes, guitar part there, I kept hearing this thing that was like ding digga ding, ding digga ding, ding digga ding, ding digga ding. So I edited it, so it's, wait, where is it? Oh, there it is, right. So it's hard to hear in here, but in the stereo, or in the surround, I could put it behind. Right? Ding digga ding, ding digga ding, ding digga ding, ding digga ding. So that's why it's so hard to make it work in stereo. But one thing that I added on the surround that I really like, there's a chicken in there now. So it goes, we go like, so another section here that's worth looking at, I think, is, let's see. Oh, this mouse can eat a dick. Okay, so this section here, the whole idea was it's supposed to be a space pod that lands in the ocean and then submerges, and then when it comes out of the water, it's supposed to be like, right? And so to try and articulate that, I put waves and splashes. So let's see where the samples start with that. So explosion, and then underwater, and then the waves. This is when this pod surfaces, right? So I've got like a bomb dropping prior to that, and it's like, where's the seagulls? And a cat. Right. There's a... And so of course, because he's underwater, we had a submarine, right? Right, and then where the cat, where's the cat? He's a great cat, right? So